Welcome to a special edition of In Touch with Durham County. I'm Deborah Craig-Ray, Chief Communications Officer. Today we are pleased to welcome Nicole Thompson, who is President and CEO of Downtown Durham, Inc. Welcome, Nicole. Glad to have you join us.
So glad to be here. Thank you.
In addition, Nicole is the recent winner of the inaugural Andrea Harris Leadership Award. The award was given in October during Durham's Minority Enterprise Development Week program. MedWeek is a celebration of the achievements and contributions of the minority business enterprise. Durham County and partner agencies gathered together to uplift minority entrepreneurs as well as individuals and organizations dedicated to advancing minority and/or women-owned business enterprises. The late Andrea Harris was founder of the North Carolina Institute of Minority Economic Development. This amazing woman spent decades helping build businesses owned by women and minorities in North Carolina and beyond. She was a mentor, an encourager, a cheerleader, a friend, a role model, and so much more. In the words of Maya Angelou, she was simply a phenomenal woman. The award will be given every year during Durham's MedWeek celebration to an individual that embodies the guiding principles of which Ms. Harris gave her life. Those include compassion, empathy, and a genuine spirit of kindness to mankind. Her unwavering spirit was full of support and advocacy for minority businesses and the Durham community. So, Nicole, please start by telling our community what you do, a little bit about your background, and your role as the president and CEO of Downtown Durham, Inc.
Okay. Again, very happy to be here. Very happy to talk a little bit about Andrea Harris and the receiving of this award. It was truly a great honor. I've been with Downtown Durham Incorporated for almost 7 years. And it's very interesting to be back. I started my career in economic development in Durham, North Carolina in the early 90s, working with Andrea at the North Carolina Institute of Minority Economic Development. So I was in downtown well before this revitalization that we're now living in and doing work across the state, but it was working in the downtown area. So it's very interesting to come full circle, so to speak. Not that I'm thinking about retiring, but kind of full circle and be back in Durham. But originally from Richmond, Virginia, born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. Went to University of Richmond for undergrad and then went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for graduate school in planning, where I had an internship with the Institute. My career started again here in Durham, and then I went back home to Virginia and spent a good chunk of my career, my economic development career, working for state and local governments in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then got this crazy idea that wouldn't it be great to go work and live in Colorado?
Okay.
So did that, and the first winter, a lot of snow in Colorado. I was living in a small community called Leadville, Colorado, and they start snowing in October and snows until March, April, May. So it was a lot of snow, and I don't ski. So I started looking to come back to the East Coast. My family still is in Virginia. My mother still is in the house that she bought with my father back in 1960, and I just needed to be closer. I was approached about this job and thought, let me come back. So here I am. As the president and CEO, I lead a team of 7 other individuals. And we are very much focused on the revitalization of the vibrancy of the success of the growth of downtown Durham. Our focus is just downtown, so we're different from some of the other organizations that do similar things where they look at the entire city or county. We're just focused on the very small footprint of downtown Durham, which roughly is Old Ballpark to New Ballpark, just shy of East Campus to Golden Belt. So it's about 3/4 of a square mile. Most of our attention is spent there on clean and safe, economic development, both the development of the new development of buildings or redevelopment of buildings, but also very much on the development support, encouragement, advocacy for small businesses. We also are doing quite a bit around placekeeping and events in the downtown area, and then a big, huge focus on communicating what we're doing, marketing what we're doing, but then also marketing downtown too. people who live, work, and play in and around the area.
Well, anyone who just drives through downtown can see that it's absolutely amazing. And you said you've only been here 7 years, and I know you've seen this marvelous transformation that we've undergone during that period.
Yes, it was quite interesting when I came to interview for the job in 2016. I left in 1995, so it was quite a different place. I had to look for parking. Didn't have to quite pay for parking quite yet on on-street parking, on-street paid parking, but I had to look for parking. I stayed in a hotel that was a bank when I was here. So it was quite a change,
right.
but
That's right.
It's been great. It's been wonderful, and I can't take all the credit. I've got a great team, and then quite a few great people who have worked for DDI over the last 30 years.
Now, as we continue to recover from the effects of, the pandemic and, like other communities, how is our community doing overall? Are businesses coming back? Are we getting back to pre-pandemic levels? What's our downtown looking like?
We are in certain aspects, but not in others. So we have come out of the pandemic in pretty good shape. We did lose a few businesses, but the majority of our businesses did stay. They were able to survive. They're now thinking about what does this new environment look like, this new downtown environment look like, and that would be the thing that has not gotten back to pre-pandemic levels. The whole remote work, hybrid work schedule, that is impacting our small businesses downtown. They don't have the traffic that they had prior to COVID for coffee, a lunch meeting, a breakfast meeting, happy hour afterwards, cutting out a little early because we all do it. Cut out at 4:30 and go to the local bar with a couple of friends and have a drink, have a cocktail, have some wine. Those things aren't happening. Certainly on a Monday, we are very, very slow in downtown. Fridays, we're slow in the morning, but we pick up in the afternoon with visitor traffic. Weekends, if you were to come downtown on the weekends, you would think nothing's wrong here.
Yeah.
We are back to probably better than pre-pandemic when it comes to weekend traffic. Our restaurants are full, very difficult to get reservations day of, kind of tricky to get reservations the day before. A lot of traffic, a lot of activities and events coming back. We're encouraged to hear from the convention center that they have conferences and conventions that are coming back in. They're booked for a good part of the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. So that traffic is coming back. It's a sign that some business travel is coming back, but certainly a place for folks to come and experience. That is, we are seeing record-breaking levels of that. It is that worker that hasn't come back. But then I would also say that we are seeing quite a bit of development, residential development, and that probably is the thing that really helped a lot of our small businesses get through COVID. We had quite a few people that were living in downtown, and they were the ones that were doing the curbside pickup, the grab and go, when everyone else was back in their homes outside of downtown. So very appreciative of that new community. And as we come out of COVID, we at DDI are taking a harder look at if people are working from home, how do we get them out of their homes that are in the downtown area and introduce them to their community, their neighborhood. It's kind of, overall, I think we're doing okay, but we certainly do miss the office workers, and we miss them because of what that is causing the smaller businesses, the merchants to have to do, how they are still pivoting. So I think it's important to know that it feels like we have gotten on the other side of COVID, but there are quite a few small businesses that are still trying to negotiate, still trying to redefine how they remain successful, how they survive.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit more about the award. So I'll note that the award focused on an individual that exemplified outstanding leadership in Durham to support minority businesses. Your service is commendable with lasting efforts on the community. So how did you feel in getting this recognition to have your work being regarded as being in line with the vision of the great Andrea Harris?
I'm rarely at a loss for words. A trait that I think I got from my father. I was at a loss for words. I do this work not for any kind of recognition. It's the hard work that has to be done, and the enjoyment I get out of it is being able to walk into a restaurant and see that they're still open. I was in the Durham Hotel today, and the lobby was full. I mean, the lobby was full with folks eating and having breakfast. And that's where I get my pleasure out of what I do. That the work that we're doing at DDI has allowed for that space to continue to grow. And I don't really anticipate, expect, or go after awards. But when I was my name was mentioned for this award, and I was called up, I truly was at a loss for words. Andrea Harris was a huge influence in my life. When I started working for her as an intern in 1991, I didn't know what I was going to do, didn't have any idea. I was one of those 21-year-olds, I guess I was 21-year-olds, just kind of whatever. Really didn't take things seriously. And she was a mentor without, I don't even think, trying to, but just the way that she carried herself and just the passion that you saw, and how she advocated for those who didn't think they had an advocate, and how she fought tirelessly to ensure that minority businesses were recognized, received the services that they need, had the opportunities bestowed on them, and in trying to find ways to make sure that they were at the table was something that I learned daily from her. So for the Midweek committee to create this award, I thought was amazing, because certainly, as passionate as she was about minority enterprise and minority economic development, she created an organization based solely on that. It made sense to have an award to give out during this week, but then to be the individual to receive the inaugural one, I don't know that I'm even worthy for it. I'm rambling, but it was truly something that just made my heart sing. I would say I would have rather not to have gotten the award, because it would have been nice to still have her. When I arrived, she sent me an orchid and said, got a lot of work to do. Let me know how I can support you. And she was that person that I could reach out to and say, hey, this thing's going on. I don't quite remember this. What's going on? And she'd help me, give me, take my phone calls, give me the advice. So I would say the award is wonderful. I am indeed honored, but I would so wish to be able to pick up the phone and have her give me some advice.
Yeah.
Let me know if I'm crazy. Let me know if I'm going in the right direction. And also, I would say, tell me when I needed to do better, because she did that a few times over the 5 years. She called and said, yeah, I saw what you did, Nicole, but you need to do better. And to have that person in your life who is constantly supporting, but also has the ability to check you too. So all of that I miss, but indeed honored, very honored.
Yeah. She was such an amazing life force.
Yeah. She really was. Just watching her deal with local government officials, but then and she was a small woman, but she could step into a room and demand the attention of state senators, governors. It was just very impressive, and she never took advantage of that. So, the work that I do and that I've always done has always kind of been with that thought in mind. How do you support? How do you advocate? How do you speak up? How do you make sure that you are uplifting those businesses that have been overlooked, disenfranchised, ignored? And then I guess also as I get to tables where people that look like me have not been, once I've elbowed my way to the table, it's, as she has taught, it is you have to turn back around and help others to that table. So you take the bruises and you take the shuns and stuff, but once you get there, the fight isn't over. You then have to slide over and reach back and pull the next person up to the table. Yeah. So she was very profound. She never said any of those things. It was just how she operated, how she interacted with people, and then just the respect that you saw from people. And she could get into some arguments, but at the end of it, everybody respected her. There was never any doubt that she knew what she was talking about. And I also learned from that. You never go into a room anticipating or expecting. You have to know your stuff. You have to be able to present it. You have to just keep pushing. So she was an incredible woman. And again, to get an award from Durham named after her is indeed, It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I took the award home and showed it to my mother. So,
Oh, I know she was
in
very
fact,
proud.
right now the award is in Richmond because I forgot to bring it back. So,
Of course.
so my mother looks at it every day.
Yeah. Well, as we conclude, do you have any advice or tips for young entrepreneurs interested in this world and what they should be looking at and how they should be operating at this point?
I've learned that you can't do it alone. You have got to have a network and people that you can trust, and you need to rely on them. You need to call. You need to check in with them. You need to be able to take criticism, not have a thin skin and have things and not listen. But then you have to have good judgment, and as you listen and you gather your information, then decide. It always comes down to you have to decide how you're going to move forward, but you should never do that in a vacuum. I would say in Durham is one of those very unique places where there are people who you can find your space here, you can find your people here, and your people, you can have multiple people. You don't have to be just in one group. It is such a encouraging place, a place that wants to help you grow. And that is the thing that we continue to try to ensure that we have in downtown, that you have these spaces where you can come and people will sit down and talk with you. And you don't feel shunned so much or not given support. So I would advise that you find those people that speak to you and support you, but also push back a little bit and challenge you. And then there are plenty of services and resources out there through the city, through the county, through other organizations to help you on your quest to grow your business, to try your business, and just try. There's nothing wrong with trying and then maybe failing and learning from those mistakes. Always learn from those mistakes.
Well, there you have it. Some wonderful information from a master and an award winner of the Andrea Harris Leadership Award. Thank you so much, Nicole, and congratulations on this wonderful award. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. I have as well.
We appreciate all you do for Durham.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on In Touch with Durham County. Cheers.